All right, all right. Thank you, everybody. We're here today with another Unite the People radio show. Today's kind of a special day for us. We have one of our guest host attorneys from Unite the People. Her name is Melinda Gomez. We're going to be talking to a little bit with her about Unite the People and some of the services we provide. And then today, we actually get to talk to a few guys from prison, some of the clients that we're helping. A couple of Melinda's clients we're going to be speaking with today. They'll be calling in a little later. So let's go ahead. We will be answering questions from last week. We'll be going over a few of the questions that was DM'd to us on our social media, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that towards the end of the show. But for now, I want to introduce everyone to Melinda Gomez, one of Unite the People's attorneys.
Hi, I'm Melinda Gomez. I am relatively new here, attorney here at Unite the People. Let me see, what would you like to know about me?
How did you hear about Unite the People? What made you want a job with Unite the People? And what did you do before Unite the People?
Oh, man, okay. That's kind of a long-winded answer. It's a good story, though. So I had the privilege of being licensed this past January. But prior to that, all of my experience came from...
713? Answer the phone.
Dude, it's not 6.
All right. It looks like we have one of our callers calling in a bit early. They should be calling back in a minute. Sorry to cut you off.
No, that's okay. I'm like, are we supposed to...
But they called in a bit early. But you have to understand prison, they have to call when they're able to call.
Now you have an idea of what it feels like for me when I'm working and then somebody calls and I'm trying to answer the phone.
But it's a good thing they call because they could not be calling, right?
No,
so
yeah.
That's definitely a good thing. We'll get to that. We'll hear them when they come back on. Can you finish telling us a little bit about your
Yeah, I'll
past?
give you a quick kind of like a small little summary in case they do call back. No, so prior to my experience, my criminal defense experience, actually all of my experience came from prosecution, believe it or not. And I really felt that was where I was going to be. That's what I was going to be doing. That was what my whole really goal was all throughout law school. And it's kind of looking back on it now, I think I really had more of a naive thought about it because my heart has always been in the same place where I wanted to be a prosecutor because I knew that they had all the discretion. And so for me, I was like, man, like if you have somebody in there really making, pinpoint decisions and decisions that are super, super important, how important could that be for somebody in their life, right? And so I didn't quite understand that. Okay, yes, you have that ability, but a lot of DA's offices all have policies in place that would keep me from making decisions that I would want to make. As a law clerk, as a student, I knew those policies, but I also knew that I could kind of get away with them and play I'm just a student. I didn't know about the policies.
Right.
But obviously, as an actual DA, I wouldn't be able to get away with those certain things. So it was really through teaching a class. I was a professor at Cal Baptist University a year from now, actually. And I really had this word on my heart. Mercy actually was a word that came to my heart. And so I studied it for 6 months. And I was teaching my students about different things. And really, I was more teaching myself. And I realized that I was kind of pursuing the wrong side, if you will. I was pursuing the wrong things. And then I passed the bar exam. And, obviously I started looking for a job. And I saw this position open. And it was like, I honestly thought that I had no chance. I thought I had absolutely no chance. But I was like, at getting the job, I thought I had zero chance. I mean, I had put in for so many different jobs. There was literally a fellowship that was almost identical to what we do. It was like in, I don't know, like Michigan or some tiny little city, some tiny little university that like I was going to go because that was what I wanted to do, but it would have been like really tough to do that. And I put in for that position. I'd never even heard back. And then it's like, dang, then I got a job in that position doing the same thing instead of just a fellowship. So, God really just putting a lot of pieces together for me. But yeah, it's really been kind of like a dream come true, if you will.
Cool. Well, that's good to know, and it's good to know that you got the job you wanted. Now that you have the job, and you see all of the work that it takes on the post-conviction defense side, as well as the criminal defense, a little different than the prosecution, of course.
Yeah.
Tell me how you view it now. Tell me what you think about not just your job, but what your job means, what your job does.
I don't think I have a different view than what I did first coming into it, because like I said, my heart was always in the right place. It was always in the same place of really wanting to implement change, really wanting to make a difference in people's lives, But obviously understanding what an uphill battle it is. It sounds like they're calling.
Yeah, they're calling. Go ahead, finish.
Just what an uphill battle is, especially when it comes to post-conviction. It's
Global Tel-Link. I have a call from an inmate at the California State Prison, San Quentin, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel-Link.
Hello, Mr. Carter.
What's going on?
How you doing today? How you doing, sir?
Good, brother.
All right. Well, we are actually live on air now. You're live on air as well. We're sitting here with attorney Melinda Gomez, and we're discussing some of her work that she does with clients, getting clients resentenced or getting them in line to be resentenced, just different things we're discussing. And it's good that you called in because we wanted to talk to you a little bit and let you tell us a little bit about your story and your experience with Unite the People. Tell us a little bit about, first, whatever you want to tell of your story. Again, we're live on the air. We're on cpiradio.org and cpiradio.org, as well as streaming live on our social media. So only say what you want to say about your case, and then tell a little bit about your experience with Unite the People. And before you do that, you could say hi. You could say hi to the attorney, Melinda Gomez.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing?
Good to hear your voice.
First I want to... Oh, no problem. Thank you. Well, first I'd like to thank you all for having me on. And I'd like to thank your staff, specifically Ms. Gomez, for paving a path for the chances of my release from here. And if it wasn't for you guys, no telling what process I would have had to go through to get out. With this 1170D, it's opened the door, at least one avenue for a release. And I'm glad you guys have assisted me with that. And also, I'd like to congratulate you on your success, the things that you're doing to make it affordable and at the same time having quality services for individuals who can't afford $20,000 to $30,000 attorney. So with that, again, I appreciate all you guys' help.
Okay, brother. Well, thank you, man, and we appreciate you. And it's definitely a beautiful thing to hear some people that actually understand what we're doing. And it's good to have guys that are in that situation calling in and being able to speak it from your side, right? Because a lot of people don't understand how hard, number one, post-conviction cases are to get back in front of the district attorney or get back in front of court. And number two, I don't want to say how special it is, but how good it is to have an organization, to have a staff, to have lawyers like Ms. Gomez to come in and represent people that are in the situation. Everyone knows I'm formerly incarcerated, so I understand the need for affordable legal services. I understand the need for, the community that's incarcerated, man. It's something beautiful. It was a blessing. It's something that God made possible for us to be able to do for the people, man. So, definitely appreciate your words on that. Now, tell us a little bit.
I've been the number one.
Go ahead.
Well, I've been the number one advocate for you guys because I know how extremely difficult it is for a huge percentage of incarcerated individuals here who don't have the means to afford attorney fees. And with your network has made it possible for individuals to at least have some assistance. So I'm your number one advocate here, and like I said, I'm optimistic about my future and the things I plan on achieving once I get out.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Okay, and that led us
And
right.
if any way,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
No, go ahead,
If
sir.
you
Sorry.
need me in any, if you need my assistance in any other way, I'll be happy to do that for you guys.
Sure, brother. We definitely appreciate that, but that's not your job. Our job is to assist you. But let's bring this up. You kind of led us to where I wanted to go because I have Ms. Gomez here, and from what I understand, Ms. Gomez is your attorney. Is that correct?
I
Yes,
hope.
yes.
I hope.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Gomez. And matter of fact, there's at least 2 or 4 individuals that she's also representing. And I know of one, he's expecting to hear something from the DA within a week or so regarding his case. And if any DA, from my observations and people who dealt with these 1170s, if they're actually looking or accepting the case, it's more likely that you have some positive results. And the mere fact that the DA from San Mateo County is actually looking at my case is real positive, because anyone who's familiar with San Mateo County or Santa Clara County, they have the highest conviction rate, and they're less likely concerned about releasing inmates.
Okay.
So
Okay.
with that, it's definitely a plus. Go ahead.
Okay. No, so that's one of the things I wanted to get to. If I'm correct, Ms. Gomez filed your petition. I don't know the exact date, but she filed your petition for you. And then right after that, the DA contacted you with some type of letter asking for some type of documentation. Do you want to tell us about
Right.
that a little bit?
Well, once she processed the paperwork, I received a letter from the DA, and there needed my C file. And what that is things that I've done while incarcerated, go into your medical file, any history of violence or whatsoever, and then they make a determination whether or not they're going to grant the petition or not. So once they gain access to your C file, because it gives the detail of everything that's transpired since being incarcerated,
Right.
they make a determination from there. And like I said, with Ms. Gomez's help, I'm just ecstatic that they're even looking at it. So thanks again, Ms. Gomez.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, you're definitely right. It's definitely a positive thing that they're even looking. Because just to be candid with you, I mean, sometimes DA's offices just give you a blatant no, and you just have zero chance, and that's what you're stuck with. But oftentimes we do
Right.
find that if they're at least asking for the central file, that means they're at least you're on their mind, and they're at least thinking about you. So, I mean, that's a positive thing. Obviously, we aren't there yet, but hey, we'll take it in stride, and we'll take our many wins as we go.
Right. And let me jump in here and say this. As somebody that spent 20 years in the cage, right? The fact that Unite the People, the fact that Ms. Gomez was able to file a petition on your behalf, and then all of a sudden you went, how many ever years you've been incarcerated, and wasn't able to get the district attorneys to look at your case. She said it real humbly, and it was really sweet, but I'm going to say it how it should be said. Right? The DAs haven't looked at your case up to now. So you come to Unite the People, you retain Unite the People's assistance, and now you have district attorneys where she says, well, at least your case is on their mind, and that's cool, but your case is not on their mind. They're obviously looking at your case, right? How many times has a district attorney, since you've been incarcerated, contacted you and said, "Hey, man, look, we want your C file. Give us your C file."
Well, dealing with the DA, the chances are real slim. Besides what just transpired.
Right, and that's huge. That's big. To even have that happen, man. And hope in prison. One thing that I always try to explain to people is hope is this is the last thing you got. It's the last thing you have. There's been so many times that I've called my family and like, hey, I'm going home because this bill passed or this initiative. I'm coming home. It got to the point where my family started telling me, stop telling us that because you're not coming home. You know what I mean? Or, it's not, let's wait till it happens type thing. You're not coming home. But in this situation, you actually had the district attorneys contact you and request what we've been trying to do. We've been sitting there in those cages all these years, and we've been trying to make that happen. So the fact that, again, man, God made this happen. God made it to where my brother and myself could start this organization, and we could hire attorneys like Ms. Gomez, and she can file things for the rest of the people that, rest of the incarcerated community. You see what I'm saying? So to me, that's huge, brother. I'm happy for you. Congratulations on that. And, I just hope it goes your way. Like she did say, nothing's guaranteed, until the day that they call you back and resentence you. But the fact that.
Well, even the possibility of them having the DA look at it is a great plus.
Yeah. I think if I can kind of give a little bit of kind of basic information for how post-conviction works, not necessarily to you, but just kind of to all our listeners. I think it's really good information to kind of realize how difficult post-conviction is and how it works. So what I always tell clients and their third parties is I always say, okay, think about your case like a box, right? Once you're found guilty and once you're sentenced, that box is shut. It is nailed shut. It's locked up shut. A lot of times throughout someone's incarceration, there's a lot of new laws that get passed, right? There's not a lot of new bills that get passed, and then they become law. Most of the time, those new laws are not retroactive, meaning they're not going to apply to you. So take all of those laws and put them in that box, right? Those laws are awesome. They're probably applied to that individual person, but we can't argue then unless we find a key to open up that box, right? Post-conviction is looking for that key. And so the cool thing about, the Senate Bill 2492, which gives the DAs the ability to ask for resentencing, that's a key. That's a key. So if that were to be successful, right? So like in your case, if the DAs were to say, yes, let's go ahead and resentence everything and all of those awesome bills that are in that box, now we can use them. And so that is really what I want people to kind of understand and walk away with, where a lot of times we'll have people calling and say, well, Senate Bill 620, this, I should be leaving tomorrow. Like, it's not retroactive, though. We have to find a key first.
And what she means by finding the key for all the people like me that have to really see that, what she means is a case review, right? When you have something like a case review where you have attorneys actually going through, and a lot of post-conviction firms out here, they screw over the brothers. They screw over the community. When I say brothers, I mean everybody that's incarcerated, but I should say sisters too, right? There's women. But what they do is they give you a consultation on the phone. They take their notes, and then they'll come back around and charge you $3,000, $5,000, $6,000, whatever it may be, and tell you that they're going to do a case review. And on that case review, it's nothing but the consultation notes they had, and they tell you.
Boilerplate.
Right.
We've received some, actually, and we're like, what is this?
Right.
This doesn't tell me anything.
When I see those things, man, it's like a kick in the stomach to me because I know you're whooping everybody. But Unite the People, on the other hand, we actually take your entire transcript and go over your entire transcript and give you a real case analysis. And that's why we started the program we just started, which was we're offering case reviews, giving you a case analysis, as well as a request for resentencing, as long as you qualify, though. There has to be, for instance, Los Angeles. You have to qualify before you have to meet that tier before we could do that. But what we're doing, for the same price that we charge for the case review, we're just making it both. We're
Right.
giving you, it's like 2 for 1, right? We just really are trying to help the people. And that's something that I always try to suggest people, man, definitely. If I would have did that, I may not have had to serve that 20 years because I was illegally sentenced, but I didn't find out until before I went to the board. You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
that's definitely something, man, that we encourage the people to do. And that's what gives you that key, because let's say you do get back in front of the judge.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Well, we'll get to that later.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
We'll get to that later,
Well,
brother.
again, before hanging up,
Uh-huh.
I just want to thank you, again, Caesar and Ms. Gomez, for your assistance. I look forward to a positive outcome of this 1170.
Yeah, me too. We'll be in touch.
And I'll be contacting you guys next week.
Absolutely, brother. You give us a call, man, and we'll keep you updated, and we're going to try to make this thing happen for you, man. You keep your head up. You stay safe in there.
Appreciate it. Talk to you guys later.
All right, brother. Talk to you later.
Bye.
All right. So, again, that's one of our clients, a guy that's incarcerated in San Quentin State Prison. We filed his petitions, man. This guy's in front of the district attorneys. It's up to their discretion, but at least he's there, right? It puts him in a position to where he has a chance to get resentenced, man. So that's huge. And to you, Ms. Gomez, I'd like to say, hey, congratulations, man. You know, coming into a
Congratulate me when he's out.
right, but
It's the athlete in me that's like, oh, okay, well,
Right.
baby clap.
right, but that's big though, you know, and
Yeah.
and so again, I was just there. I would have killed for that.
Yeah.
Well, not killed. I would have. I would have done anything besides kill for that, because you know that I'm telling you, in there that's huge.
Yeah.
In there right now, and a lot of people don't know this. I still deal with a lot of the formerly incarcerated people's families, or no, people that's incarcerated families, and in the prison system, at least at San Quentin that I know of, and in a few other prisons, this is the queen of the prisons right now. Everybody in there, it's the truth. Everybody in there calls me. I get calls all the time. Hey, man, what's going on with Ms. Gomez? Can I talk to Melinda Gomez? She got, for example, the guy we just spoke to, he came back just the other day, called us like, hey, there's 2-3 guys in here right now that got letters from the DAs because Ms. Gomez, man. Everybody wants to talk to you. So that's huge. But I agree with you. I mean, but like I said, hope is huge, man.
Yeah.
This guy right here, he could have been, you know, there's guys there jumping off tiers. I've seen guys jump from the 5th tier and bust their whole bodies up because they.
I mean, no, I ain't want to cut that off, but we got a question from Ebony Norris. How do we go about getting our loved ones transcripts?
Oh, you can answer
Yeah,
that.
let me take that.
I just told somebody and it's such a headache.
Nah. So getting transcripts is hard, right? And we're going to explain to you why. If you're
Take notes.
Yeah, definitely. If your loved one has been incarcerated for more than 5 years, 9 times out of 10, their transcripts are not still in the courts with the clerks. So what they have to do is they have to find the actual transcriber, the person that was in court. What's it called?
The court report.
Court reporter.
Yeah, the court reporter. They have to actually find the court reporter that was working that day the days of the trial, and find them. They normally put everything on microfilm. They take them. In my case, I went looking for my transcripts, and we found the court reporter. She had them in her garage. Then she called us and said, "Oh, you know what? Those transcripts was part of a flood that happened in my garage, and it ruined everything." So they didn't have mine any longer. And so finding my transcripts after that was over. So what you need to do if you're looking for your loved one's transcripts, if he does not have them still in his cell, then you want to contact the court that he was convicted in. You want to go to the clerk's window, give them the name, they'll ask for his birthday, case number, everything like that. Then they're going to let you know whether they still have them in their archives down in the basement area, or if they don't, they'll email the court reporter, have the court reporter email you back. It's a long process. It's a month, 2, 3. It just depends on how long he's been incarcerated, because the longer he's been incarcerated, the less likely they're still at the court with the clerks.
Also check with the Court of Appeal or their appeal attorney as
Right,
well.
right.
Most of the time, they've already given them back, but you might be lucky. They might, have them scanned in or something like that in their profile. Generally not, but you never know. It's definitely worth
Right.
a phone call because it's such a headache.
And a lot of people don't know this. My appeal attorney, she's the worst appeal attorney everywhere. Marilee Marshall, never hire her. She's horrible. But Marilyn Marshall, I don't care. She was horrible. But
How bad was she?
Not bad enough to remember her name, I guess.
yeah, she was super garbage. But she charged me $1,000 for my transcripts. Right? I needed my transcripts back. And she said, well, the only way I can give you your transcripts, I can't give you your originals. I can only give you copies. So if you give me $1,000, I can copy your transcripts.
She
and
never
send them
gave
to
you originals.
No, I paid her $1,000 for my transcripts.
The attorneys have to give back the originals to their clients.
Well, see, I didn't know that, and it's a money hustle. Like I said, she was horrible. She was the worst person ever. So, I'd pick at her office if I knew where it was. But so that's pretty much how that works. Is there any other questions that we need to answer before we?
It says here his case is out of Santa Ana.
Okay, so you want to go to the Santa Ana clerk's office. Give them a call. You might want to start with a call. If you're far away, you can call them, but it's definitely a process. Mm-hmm. All right. So before we get to our next caller, we do have, again, it's prison. We don't know how it's going to work, but we do have another caller that's supposed to be calling in. One of our clients, again, a guy that's out of San Quentin, should be calling in. So before we get to that, whenever he does, we have them. They're not scheduled. Whenever they call, it should be within the next 15 minutes, I'm sure.
In the meantime, we could talk about this.
What is that?
About the 9 different counties that are receiving money to do the request for resentencing.
Sure, educate us.
I don't think you and I have actually had the time to talk about this. So as of September 1st, basically 9 counties were given, I think, $18 million to split through the different counties, the 9 different counties, to implement for the DA's offices to implement those resentencing, to resentence individuals. So the 9 counties are, in fact, I have them written down. LA County is getting some money. Santa Clara, San Francisco, Merced, Yolo. Interestingly enough, believe it or not, Riverside. And the reason why we say Riverside is because Riverside is notorious for
Being racist.
and also just not even caring when you send a request in.
Because they're racist.
I've literally had, just recently, I had a client tell me, actually, that they rejected our request, but they never informed me. They just told the client only literally sent the information to his prison and never informed me. So I found out through the client instead of the opposite way. So that
That's
was
horrible.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see how they're going to implement it. Sounds like he's calling. Yes?
No, what he's saying is the tapping the table.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
try not to tap.
Contra Costa is one. San Diego and Humboldt County. So those are the 9 counties. Now, the interesting thing about it is the way that they're doing the money. It's not set, or it's not evenly dispersed. I think it's based off of how many people they have. But also the public defender's office will be receiving some money, because on the back end of that, if someone does get resentenced, this, then they get assigned a public defender.
Unless they want
to
retain an
right.
attorney.
And so
right.
the interesting thing about that, which is always the case, unfortunately, is that for example, I saw an article that gave a breakdown of the amount of money, right, that was given to each counties. Now, in LA County, the DA's office is getting $2,200,000. Guess how much their public defender's office is getting? $700,000. That's not even half.
Yeah.
That's not even half.
No.
And so, I mean, it really just speaks to the disparity of the power that really district attorneys' offices have in comparison to public defenders' offices. You know, I mean, public defender's offices are very good and needed offices because they do have everything that if a public defender wants to be a good public defender, they have all the ammunition.
You knew to say that. You knew I was about to come.
They have all the ammunition.
They should have gave the public defender's office $1 just to order the paper to read it. Public defenders are garbage.
No, but they need the money in order to do the job.
Man,
you know,
right now in LA, they should have gave the district attorneys all the money because the district attorneys. Who thought I'd ever say this? But the district attorneys in Los Angeles, the head district attorney, George Gascon, and the rest of the ones that are actually with the alliance with him. Best district attorneys ever in the history of the world. But the public defender's office, you know, I have really bad experiences with the public defender's office, and I don't really know anybody who's ever had a positive experience.
Well, you don't hear about them. That's why, because
I heard about them.
They don't end up in prison. You know.
No, I lived there in the county jail for 3 years. The first time, the last, you know, I've been there too, and so it's hard to figure out a good public defender. But I can't say this.
They're there.
There
That
was
is for sure.
there was a tall basketball player lady.
Of course.
I forgot her name,
course
but
she
she
was a
was a pretty
basketball
good
player
public
lady.
defender. She was helping people. There was a couple. So I mean, this is everybody's different. But one thing I do want to say about the money that they give out, because this is what happened last time they gave out the money, and you weren't with us at that time. They paid out millions of dollars to the district attorneys and to the courts to set up the resentencing units.
Oh, what was that? When was that?
That was when 1170 first came, when Governor Brown, right before.
It must have been 2018.
Right when Brown left, what he did was he was the one that expanded the 1170. So they then after that issued money to the different units, you know, to different courts and district attorneys and all that to do that. But one thing that the people were misinformed on was they were thinking that money, and I was still incarcerated at the time, and so I thought the same thing, was they were thinking that money was going to be used to defend them. So the people would call Unite the People and say, hey, look, they just issued that money to my county, so I need you guys to get the money from them and fight my case. And it doesn't necessarily work like that. We all know how political money is. Number one, they're not going to give it to an attorney or anybody outside of the district attorney, or maybe a portion to the public defender's office to defend a person. But if you're looking for help, if you're looking for an attorney, if you're looking for a firm to take your case, that money has zero to do with it. I would again suggest you come to an organization like ours that the main thing is the affordable legal fees, you know, something that really look to help the people. But with that being said, let's try to get to a couple of these things before the next caller calls.
Oh, yeah.
If he does, let me see, what time is it? Oh, he still has a little time. We can go over. Okay, let's go over some of the questions. Let's just get to it real quick.
Sure.
Last week we had a question about AB 1509, and we wanted to address that this week. We can address it in 1 second. AB 1509 is what?
Dead as Fred.
AB 1509 is dead as Fred. There is no more AB 1509.
Since May, actually.
Yeah, it died in May. It's September now. That's over. Hey, it would have been great if it did pass, but they didn't. So that's too bad. We can still find another way, man. You have to keep fighting. If you don't, the incarcerated person loses hope. And, you know, there's a lot of different things that happen when that happens.
I mean, I know that office is... we had a meeting with him, you know, and they were, unfortunately, it was literally the day after it died. And they were, you know, really just expressing how, hey, we're still going to fight the good fight. We're looking to see what went wrong, you know, and so it's not something that is just going to go away. It's definitely something that they're continuing to fight for.
Right. I remember hearing about that. And then, and AB 1509, for the people that don't know, that was the enhancement on firearms bill.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Which would have been huge.
Yeah, it would have been great. I'm still waiting on, and you can tell us a little bit about that if you're familiar with the if you feel your sentence was racially motivated, Bill, where's that one at?
I don't know. I'm not too familiar with it. And the reason being, and we've had several conversations about this, me and, our other two attorneys, where we just feel like it doesn't have enough muster, it doesn't have enough juice unless your case has a lot of facts to support it. So it's not really something that we've followed very closely, to be honest with you.
Okay. And I think, and this is just my opinion.
Yeah,
I think we should be following it absolutely very closely. And hey, she's the attorney. I'm just an ex-guy incarcerated, right? But how many people in that bill, the way they structured it, there has to be supporting evidence, right? But your sentence itself should be supporting evidence. The amount that the percentage of people that are given enhancements are people of color. If you check out that percentage, which is 87% or whatever it is like, that's crazy. If you put down 100 pieces of paper and say, I'm gonna set 87% of them on fire, but I'm gonna keep the rest of them cool. That's the same thing that happens when we're getting sentenced. So me, myself, yeah, it might take a little more of a fight. Yeah, it might take a case going up to the highest courts and being ruled on. But just the fact that 87% of the guys that are being enhanced are people of color, that makes, if I have any enhancement, to me, is racially motivated. And I definitely would want to fight that. And it's a fight that has to happen. Getting out of prison is not easy. If it was, everybody would be out, right?
Yeah.
So,
no kidding.
That's just how I feel on that. And when you're sitting in that cage and watching your kids grow up on pictures, you probably feel the same way. So we can get to the next segment. The question from Instagram from at Mr. Peasy the Great, AB 990, inmate visitation, making a civil right rather than a privilege. Do you guys know what part of the phase it's at or on? The last I was told was that it was on the third reading in the Senate. In addition to that, what comes after the third reading in the Senate? And I'll let Melinda answer that. She's probably way more versed than I am in that.
So these questions are actually really, really easy to answer yourself. Not that we don't want to answer them, but we want to give you guys the tools to be able to look things up on your own. So the best way to be able to track any bill that is getting looked at or that is, in the process of getting passed is just go to legislation. I always have
legislation.
Thank you. I always have such a hard time saying that word. .com, and it has all of the different, literally the different tabs that you can follow. One of them is, I believe it's status. You just click on it and it will literally tell you the status of the bill. And I believe the status for this AB 1990 is correct. I believe that this is up to date. But after that, then it depends. The answer to what happens after the third reading in the Senate is it depends. So if the Senate has different edits that they want to make, then they make the edits and then the process starts all over again. Hypothetically, from there, it can get passed. So there's a lot of back and forth, if you will, between the both houses before something actually becomes law. And then, of course, the governor has to sign it.
Okay. Well, again, we have some of our great people here in the crowd, and they listened to that, and it was some really good answers there. With that being said, let's get to what is UTP currently doing, and I'll answer some of that. The main thing, and it's something that we wanted to talk about now, and at least say and get out there. Next week, we're having our Operation Black show. Oh my goodness. It's going to be a different kind of show, but it's going to be a really good show. And we're going to be talking about Operation Black. If you don't know what Operation Black is it's an operation to get a guy named Alan McIntosh out of prison. The guy's been in there for over 23 years on a gun enhancement. and it was a nonviolent crime. It wasn't something to where, I mean, he was on a gun possession, excuse me.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, a gun possession charge. They gave the guy life. If you watch the movie Cue Ball, you probably learned a little bit about Mr. McIntosh already. But next week, we're going to be doing our Operation Black show. And that's something that we definitely encourage everyone to watch. We're going to have a little fun with it. Mr. McIntosh should be coming in as long as the prison is open. He should be calling in. We should be able to talk with Mr. McIntosh, so that would be great. And I definitely suggest people log in and tune in for that. A couple of other things that Unite the People is working on. We're currently preparing to send out our fall newsletter. We want to inform everyone of our new program that we're launching, where the lawyers are not only doing your case reviews, but also filing your request for resentencing for some super low fee, which is awesome. And it's a lot of extra work, but it was something that the lawyers agreed to do because they want to help the people. So I myself, man, that's awesome. And I'm going to say thank you to her again for y'all, brothers. You know, the people want to say thank you for that. Trust me, the people, that's big. So we want to get that information out. And so those letters should start going out by next week, and everyone should be getting that. And if you don't have our newsletter, if your loved one doesn't have our newsletter, just DM us, and we'll get one over to you. One of the things that we're working on is the Long Beach Grand Prix. Unite the People is going to be at the Long Beach Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. That's the correct term. And we're going to be at the event selling merchandise, raising money for the organization, and, you know, to make it better and be able to help more people. So if you guys are in the Long Beach area, come on out to the Long Beach Grand Prix. It's on the 24th, 25th, and 26th of this month, which is a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday. And our staff was going to be out there working, man. We're going to be out there trying to make money, man, to help the people. So that's going to be big. Definitely encourage everyone to come out to that. You could actually meet Miss Gomez there in person, which would be super.
I'll give you my autograph.
She played basketball in college, and she thinks she's a star.
And
right?
I played overseas too.
Oh, and she played overseas, but
Played
she
overseas
can't beat
too.
me. I'm 5'0" midget, and I would dunk on her. So she, you know. But if you want to come out and meet her,
Like I tell him and everybody else, blow by sessions.
okay. And the average person doesn't know what that means. That means she thinks she has a first step and she's quick, but she's really not. Oh, and we might go live on Unite the People when our attorney,
Oh, God, that would be so funny.
Melinda Gomez, goes one-on-one with one of Cue Ball star Anthony Ammons. Anthony Ammons and Melinda Gomez will be battling one-on-one
Oh,
down
my
on
goodness.
the Long Beach courts. I'm sure we'll be bringing that to you guys live. That may be something that everyone's interested
Oh
in
my
seeing.
gosh, that would be so fun.
Yeah, and we don't know exactly when it will be. Mr. Ammons has to, come back down here. So
No, he needs time to get his skills together. That's what he told me, at least.
he
was
plays.
like, I
he
need some
plays
time.
every day. He plays.
yeah,
he just
but-
joined like 2 teams.
Right, but playing every day, you still need time to improve those skills. So that's what he told me, at least. He was like,
I got my money on Mr. Ammons. All right, blow by skills. So, again, with the raffle, we have that every 60 days. We'll be bringing that back to you guys. We're going to be, hopefully everyone has received their raffle money by now. They should. We had the 3 winners. We sent their money out to them. I would have loved to have been there when they received it in the mail. That was huge.
that was really fun, I have to admit.
Yeah, I would have definitely figured that out. And what we're going to be doing, we're going to be bringing on next week, like I said, Operation Black. After Operation Black will be maybe the journalist Lauren Posen, if we get to that. But if not, you're coming back for the Operation Black next week?
Right?
You should.
I'm his attorney, I
You're
think.
his lawyer. And she's the one that came up with, for everyone that doesn't know what Operation Black is, or you do now, but she's actually, Black is one of my former cellies, right? Was my cellie for 10 years. So
It's a long time.
say it again.
It's a long time. to
to live
live
3
with
feet.
somebody.
Yeah, the guy lived 3 feet
Yeah.
above me. You just see feet. hanging
Especially
down.
Caesar.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah,
I mean,
for real.
You have
Living
to
with
see him only in the weekday. God.
That's cute.
I come to my office tomorrow. I don't have a job.
No, you always got a job. Unite the people. We try to get people out. One thing I did want to talk about, and I didn't get a chance to put this through any of the producers, the great producers that produced the show. Again, Chloe, Peyton, Destiny, Devin, Chelsea, Joe Vegas, Big Mitch in the back. We also have, we got to give a shout out to the Unite the People ambassador, Mr. Anthony Smith. And we have a special guest in the house today. We have my mommy. My mother is actually here and watching the show, so that's definitely big.
That's where you got your height from.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like that.
Yours too, I guess. No.
What?
And yours
Excuse me?
too.
No, I'm 5'8". I'm the beginning of tall.
Oh, okay. You're right.
That's cute. But
I don't need no help, mommy. Thank you.
no, but I did want to talk about there's a program out there, and it's a small company, just started up, but they're doing something big. They're doing something huge. They're helping people with getting prepared for the board. And
awesome.
if you don't know how hard that is, put it like this: it was so frustrating. I didn't even do it. I got ready for the board the night before the board, like literally. It's really confusing because you don't know what to do. You don't know what you're supposed to be. Yeah, you don't know what you're supposed to be looking at. They take you to a consultation a year before the board, and they'll say, yes, okay. What they told me was, I had a nonviolent crime. You know my case. I had a nonviolent crime. Oh, my God, your case is so violent. I thought I was going to go to the consultation. I swear. I thought I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to be the guy. They walk in there, and they're going to go, oh, baby, what are you doing? We going to let you. Man, I walked in there, that lady said, oh, my God. Oh, your case is so violent. And I promise you, I said, no, ma'am, McDowell, the nonviolent, because they're sitting up like a judge. You're sitting down at the table. I was like, no, ma'am, the McDowell, the nonviolent case. And she said, oh, I got your case. The courts might say your case is nonviolent, but I'm looking at this. CDC calls your case violent. And, like, my whole stomach sunk. And she was like, well, you better get this class, this class before you come back and see us.
Yeah,
And I'm like, okay, so I went out there like, yeah, I'm going to get this class. What class she say? Then you go, and they go, oh, man, that class is not available.
Or there's a waiting list.
Or
it's closed because of COVID.
The waiting list at San Quentin for the classes that I had to take were like years. But I'm going to board in 12 months. And so you have to beg, borrow, steal. You have to literally, I had to go, please, master, let me and get in there, right?
Yeah.
But for the average guy, I consider myself, kind of sharp guy, but it was really hard. And trying to figure out what you're supposed to be learning. Then you're sitting in the groups and you're sitting there going, wow, I don't understand none of this, right? And then they got the goody two-shoe guys that are there saying like, oh, yeah, I'll say
the gunners.
Yeah, and the bootlickers. But they're in there and they, so for the average guy, it was just hard and frustrating. So there is a company out there. It's called Home Again Parole Assistance Program. And what they do, it's a small company, but they do good work. I've seen a few of the things. In my personal opinion, from what I saw, they understand the parole process. And by them understanding the parole process, they're able to help explain it. They even explained some of it to me. They even worked a little bit with me when I was doing mine, like trying to explain to me. They helped Mr. McIntosh.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And
yeah, and I've received a copy of all that stuff, and that's good stuff.
Yeah, and they helped him, and it was cool. So I definitely want to give a shout out again to Home Again Parole Assistance Program. You guys should be able to look them up. Their phone number is 510-939-2423. Again, it's 510-939-2423. They help with your parole plan, support letters, remorse letters, insight letters, resumes, correspondence classes, info. I mean, it's a lot. They do a lot, and their fees are super cheap. really affordable. I don't mean cheap in a negative way, but they're really affordable.
Inexpensive.
Inexpensive, yes. And I would suggest anyone that needs that assistance to definitely give them people a call. Again, you can email them at homeagainparole@gmail.com or give them a call 510-939-2423. All right. And with that being said, I think we're down to our last 8 minutes. So with that, I want to, obviously the second individual that was supposed to be calling in, again, it's Prison. Maybe we'll have him on next week. Maybe we'll bring him on during the Operation Black show just for, 15 minutes of that. But with this last few minutes, I would like to talk a little bit more with you about your experience at Unite the People, like the actual the work that you do. Like I always tell people, and I'm not a lawyer, man, it's hard. It's frustrating. You're dealing with people who don't necessarily understand the process, and they're frustrated. And when they're frustrated, the only person they can take that out on is you, right? That's all they know. Hey, is they want their loved one home. They can't really afford to go pay the big firms, and so you're all they got. And so when you're all they got, they're persistent, and it's so they don't understand that it's not just, for the most part, some of them, they don't understand that they're not the only client. And you have to, I understand it because I put myself in the other shoe. But how is that for you when you're dealing with so many people who want to get their loved ones out immediately, and they don't necessarily understand the process and how long the process takes?
It's funny because one of the things that, we talked about really briefly how I played college basketball, and there's kind of a running joke that like, in order to be a college coach, you have to be kind of crazy. But one of the things actually that I learned from one of my college coaches was she used to always tell us, be where you need to be when you need to be there. So meaning, like if you are on the phone with a client, right, and you have 1,000 other clients that you have to think about, but you're on the phone with that client, be on the phone with that client, be engaged with that client, listen to that client, give them the time of day. So that's really something that I really, really try to do. And I also just have to always remind myself that even though I'm repeating things over and over, sometimes literally all day long for a full week, the same message over and over, this is their first time hearing it.
Right.
And so I really always have to catch myself and so every day on my way to work, I really just always pray, okay, Lord, help me to really come with some empathy, some patience, some really just being able to listen to people, if that's the very least that I can do for them. But I also always start with just reminding them that it's a process. Right. It is a process, and there is no quick fix when it comes to post-conviction. Because if there was, we'd have a lot less people in prison, but we don't, Try to explain to them how difficult it can be and really just try to be as empathetic as I can.
Okay.
And also let them know, hey, we're working though. We're working. You know what I mean? Like it's not just like, oh, okay, yes, and kind of send the way. It's hey, yo, we're working on it though.
Yeah, and it's a lot of work. Like a lot of people don't understand. It's definitely a lot of work. Like it's way more than the average person. It's way more than I thought.
Yeah,
when we first started.
I think that there's this impression when somebody calls you and they want to do like a consultation and they're giving you basic information about the case, that you're going to know everything and be able to tell them, okay, what you need to do is do this and file that, and then you'll go home free. And obviously, we know it doesn't work like that. In order for an attorney to really be able to give you answers, they have to spend time with your case. They have to really get to know it. And obviously, that's extremely time consuming. So you really don't find out answers until you're looking.
Right. And that's something that they don't do at the other post-conviction firms, which there's not a lot of them in the state of California, but they don't spend that time. And that's one thing that Mitch and I, my brother and I, were and are happy that we were able to provide, was because that's something that not only I needed. There's literally, 130,000 people incarcerated in the state of California?
Yeah.
probably 130,000 of them need that lawyer to spend that time. If they were to spend that time in that case, then there's probably things that were done, either illegal or misconduct, or well, I mean, there's 1,000 things. I could try to name them all, right? But there's definitely, you know, that need, man, and it was good to be able to feel it, and it was good to be able to hire someone like you, you know, to be an incarcerated person that always sat there going like, damn, I wish I had a lawyer that gave a damn, right?
Yeah.
And
no,
then
it's, yeah.
to be in that position now, to give the people lawyers that actually give a damn, that's huge. That's big, you know.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a blessing having you there.
Yeah. And I mean, it's fulfilling work. I definitely love it for sure. It pays for itself in a sense.
In a sense.
In a sense.
Yeah.
I still have bills, but.
Yeah, you got the lawyers have to be paid. That's what I always tell the people when they call.
I mean, everybody does, you know.
The lawyers
like
have
everyone.
to be paid. You know, we can't. You know, it's a lot of work, and they're working hard, and it's stressful, and I see it firsthand. You know, I see when I walk in the lawyer's office, and everybody's hair is a little frizzy, and they're looking at their computers.
Yeah.
You know.
Mine.
And it happens. So you know, it's big, and again, man, it's a blessing for Unite the People to be able to do that for the people. And with that being said, hey, we appreciate everybody tuning in. We appreciate the messages, the questions. You know, keep them coming. You can message and send us whatever you need answered. Again, next week, Operation Black. We're going to do a whole show. It might look different. It might sound different. I'm hoping that we have Mitch on that show because that, you know, that is something that Mitch is familiar with and with that individual. So, you know, we're looking to do it big, man. We're looking to next week having a really good show. You guys tune in. Ms. Gomez, thank you for being here today. And we'll talk to everyone next week.
Bye.